Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending the Pharma Choice webinar. We're here today to, talk to you about any of our products and tools we have to help support you and help you stay competitive in the digital era. So my name is Stephanie, and I am the manager of our client services team here at TELUS Health. And we do have Robert and Tammana here today to basically talk to you about our wide array of products and tools that will help you stay competitive. So on the next slide, Robert and Tammana can introduce themselves.
My name is Robert Simpson. I'm the Senior Product Manager for TELUS Health. My products encompass appointment booking and Pharma Connect, as well as virtual consultation. Tammana?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tammana. I am a client service manager here at TELUS Health, and I am also the workflow specialist as well, where I build workflows and demo them for clients interested in our paperless system.
So we're here today to talk to our partners at Pharma Choice, who represent an impressive footprint in the independent community pharmacy space in Canada. Community pharmacy is under pressure these days to deliver on more services and in different ways than they ever have before. It is our sincere hope that some of the products we demo with you today will allow you to take advantage of those and provide a best foot forward solution for some of your customer needs. Next slide. So part of the concepts that we'll discuss today is the shift to digital consumerism. And so what this really means is, aside from pandemic readiness, pharmacies taking that step to move their business from the traditional brick and mortar to something a little bit more open and accessible to any patient through any medium. And so we'll talk about things like PharmaConnect, the tool that your patients can use to access prescriptions on their profile in Kroll. We'll talk about online appointments, and we'll talk about virtual consultation, as well as other products that Tammana will speak on later on in the discussion. Next slide. So we'll touch on PharmaConnect now. So PharmaConnect allows a patient, as I mentioned earlier, to have direct access to their profile in Kroll. What this does is allow patients a different method of interacting with that profile rather than an in-person at the counter visit or an on-the-phone request. Patients can use an app or a web interface to interact with prescriptions on their profile, request refills, renewals, update their demographic or insurance information, and allow them to take that experience of being a patient in your pharmacy away from the traditional norms and into something a little bit more 21st century. Next slide. So PharmaConnect is a product developed by the TELUS Health teams in Toronto and Montreal. And again, it allows patients to view their medications. They can order prescription refills or renewals. They can use the technology in the apps to submit a photo of a prescription, a new prescription to be filled. There is a suite of notifications included in the product that allows the patient to be notified when a prescription is due for pickup, it's ready for refill or renewal. And you can also use the tool to manage the profiles of your dependents, so children or aged dependents in your family. Next slide. Registration is done easily through two simple methods. The in-pharmacy method provides patients with a bag stuffer or a leaflet where a custom QR code can be made available to them. That code will allow them to create a profile on PharmaConnect and have their prescriptions linked directly. The other way that can be done is patients can create an account on PharmaConnect and self-register by using information on their prescription bottle and matching that against their profile in pharmacy to create that link or that registration. Next slide. We noted earlier that there are a suite of notifications, and so we allow pharmacies to use these notifications for both their PharmaConnect or their non-PharmaConnect patients. And so this gives pharmacies the ability to use proactive notifications for their patients for things like ready for refill, ready for renewal, or ready for pickup, without having to have them registered as part of the app. This suite of notifications becomes available to all of your patients who have an SMS or an email that they can use for communications. Next slide. And so this really comes down to the power of integration. A lot of the products that we're going to talk about today are integrated into Kroll by way of the Pharmacy Link service. So Pharmacy Link is a highly secure, deeply integrated way to share information from Kroll with your patients. It allows us to do advanced to-do, calendar integration, notifications, and configs. Next slide. We'll talk a little bit more about this integration now as we touch on the Kroll Online Appointments tool. Next slide. So the online appointment booking tool is something that TELUS created out of response to pharmacies who were seeing a sort of a mishmash of different solutions for the ability to provide COVID booking appointments or COVID immunization appointments for patients for either asymptomatic testing or immunizations. The Kroll calendar has largely been an internal-only tool and has been expanded to allow pharmacies to create an online booking experience for their patients that is completely integrated with the software. Next slide. So we've updated the Kroll calendar with a number of new features. We've included a few utilities that allow pharmacies to bulk publish online appointment booking slots to a calendar or portal that we provide for each independent pharmacy. That utility allows full flexibility so that you can create slots that are supported either by the number of staff you have or the number of, the amount of time that you have available in given days to create those slots. So as noted, each pharmacy who participates or makes use of this module will have an independent URL direct to their pharmacy. Patients can be directed to that URL through social media feeds or through a button on your independent web page that maybe is a book your appointment here, and that leads the patient to this portal. Patients will select a date and a time for the appointment that they're looking for, and then integrated into that portal is the ability to collect the demographic information for the patient and import that right into Kroll. So part of that import process also includes electronic pre-screening questionnaires and consent, meaning the pre-screening questionnaire that you traditionally see in Kroll for an immunization allows that patient to pre-populate all of that information and have it ported right into the system as a PAT immunization record, minimizing the amount of administration that you need to do. Essentially, in a happy path for a patient in this model, the patient does all the administration work, shows up for the appointment, and you simply have to provide the service of the immunization. Again, using that suite of notifications that we've referred to within Pharmacy Link, patients who book appointments will receive notifications either by SMS or email when they create the appointment, if the appointment is changed, if it's canceled, and they also receive reminders prior to the appointment, keeping them on track. And the last slide there, the last product that we'll talk about today is Kroll's virtual consultation module. Virtual consultation takes interactions with your patients to the next level. And again, from a pandemic readiness perspective, this gives you options to serve any patient, regardless of their level of comfort with respect to an in-person visit. This allows you to take the stigma away from, I maybe don't want to be in pharmacy today with, case counts being higher in my area. I can book a virtual consultation and use Zoom technology as an example to provide that one-to-one face-to-face meeting with a patient. So again, with familiar technology here, the virtual consultations are scheduled in your Kroll calendar the same way that you would book an in-pharmacy or a phone service with a patient. And it allows you to conduct consultations for a number of pharmacy needs. So these can be new medication education sessions, allergy, training on a new device, health coaching, a number of services that you can provide where a patient doesn't necessarily need to be in person for the service. Next slide. The ability to be flexible here means that a patient can use any device that they have. It can be a phone, tablet, or a laptop. And the technology provides very, very clear communication, both video and audio, as well as a chat that can be recorded to the patient profile. And the big benefit here when we're talking about a virtual consultation over something like a phone appointment is taking the mystery out of that approach. having those visual cues, being able to see each other's faces and understand perhaps when there's a hesitance or a misgiving to information that you've provided allows you to be sure that you're getting the right information to the patient based on their needs.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Robert. So I will be taking over from here. We will be talking about some of the operational efficiencies that TELUS has available to support Pharma Choice pharmacies with some of the additional tools going forward. So the first one would be our Kroll Workflow, so our paperless setup that we have available for pharmacies that are looking to go towards a more paperless approach for signing prescriptions, or if it's just pharmacies looking to set up a bit of when it comes time to filling for packaging and all of that, to be able to track prescriptions more within the Kroll system itself. Workflow will play a huge role in that. And then, of course, we have our Kroll Care powered by Vigilance, which allows pharmacists to be able to have real-time access to the information available for the drugs they're dispensing. It has a lot of clinical tools and a lot of patient care information, as well as we'll be touching point on inventory management and how it would save time and allow your staff to be able to utilize the feature and have time to work on other areas of the pharmacy throughout the day. So next slide is just us going through our workflow queues, and I'll be showing you a bit of the Vigilance Kroll Care. So we will start out with a demo. I'm just going to go ahead and launch my Kroll screen here so we can go through that. Okay, so right off the bat, once we log into Kroll, our Kroll screen, once workflow is implemented, would look a lot different. So we have various different workflow queues here for verification purposes. So data entry is utilized for kind of like a holding tank, I would say, where pharmacy staff can action on prescriptions based off of the priority times that are assigned to them. And of course, the verification steps you'll see when we fill a prescription as to how they're utilized throughout the process. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my patient information. And then you also see the importance of why we need a script image to be inserted into the prescription as we go along the workflow steps here. Okay. So once we're ready, we'll just go ahead and enable our workflow push queues, and we will fill a prescription. So the first screen that will come up is our data verification. This is the step that allows the user to verify their the work that they have put into entering the prescription to make sure that the patient information is correct, the drug strength, doctor, the SIG and quantity, and authorized quantity. This gives the pharmacy staff members a chance to review this information prior to adjudicating to a third-party plan or printing out any labels. So it saves you from having to cancel and rebill at a later point in the workflow. So once we approve here, our prescription will go through any of the interaction checking. So this would be our Vigilance feature here. This is where the pharmacy staff members or pharmacists would be able to get a full idea of the interactions that have come up. If the patient has taken the medication before, it will result into duplicate therapies. It gives you a lot of additional information that you can access from the screen here. Or if you were to click on to the Vigilance tab, it will open up a website for you where you can then go ahead and go into the more details of the type of information you're looking to access. Once we clarify the interaction that popped up here, we'll click OK, and then it will start to do adjudication for us. And once our adjudication feature is completed, or step, sorry, it will move on to packaging. So this is where the barcode scanners are required to be installed. And this is where the user will be able to quickly scan their product to ensure that they have the correct item package. So we'll just quickly get a copy of that from here. And then as well, you'll notice that we'll get a screen for double count. So in a traditional setup, when you're dispensing a narcotic, or if you have a patient that requires double count, you are actually initialing on the hard copy to ensure that there's a record of a double count. Once paperless is installed in the pharmacy, that all transitions into a more electronic method where your pharmacy staff will have to just relog in with their username and passwords to ensure that they've double counted a prescription. Once that's completed, the prescription moves on to a Verify RX packaging, or also known as technical verification. This queue is specific to registered techs, where they would be verifying a prescription, again, by doing a 7-point check to ensure that all areas of the prescription are entered correctly, what's in front of them matches what's on the computer. Once they click approve, they will then be prompted with a signature screen. So this is our virtual signature option. It's another module that we have available in Kroll, and this is pretty much utilized in pharmacies to sign prescriptions using just their mouse, or if they have a laptop that is installed, they can use the trackpad of their laptop. It is also a great feature if there is a remote pharmacist logging in. They can use, through TeamViewer, they can just use the mouse to sign off on prescriptions. So if we just go ahead and do a signature and click OK, it then moves on to pharmacist verification, where we get an idea of the patient they're checking, the drug, the doctor, any interactions that came up during the adjudication process, and RX messages notifying the pharmacist of the status that they're checking. So new script, unfill, refill, all of those. At the bottom, you will see a list of all the medications the patient has taken to this date. If the pharmacist wants to focus on this particular medication, so they want to know if the patient's taken metformin in the past, or if it's any medications within the same therapeutic class, they would click on therapeutic equivalents. It filters the screen to show you only the methadone prescription, the metformin prescriptions that they're taking, and from there the pharmacist can click next, review the information entered by their staff, compare it to the script image. You can also click on the financial tab to see a breakdown of all the different drug plans a prescription went through, and what each drug plan paid, what the patient pays, and what were the response messages. So once we click approve here, we can go ahead again and sign off on our signature pad. And from there, our prescription is now done. It's waiting to be picked up by a patient. And of course, once a patient does come in to pick up their item, the user will just click on pick up. They would type in the patient's name. They would get a list of any prior medications that have been picked up and anything waiting to be picked up. They can just simply click on pick up item. We can also enable some tracking features here where you could put in who's picking up on behalf of a patient, capture their signature. All those features are available. It's all dependent on how the pharmacy would like us to customize their workflow file. So with that said, that is pretty much what we have available for workflow and the process. Just a quick description. Of course, anything more specific, you are more than welcome to schedule a demo with us, and we will go into details further. So next slide here would just be simply going through our inventory management, setting up perpetual inventory, how to process an automatic order, and how to electronically receive invoices within Kroll so that it updates your on-hands accordingly based off of what's being received. So next slide here is just basically showing us how to set up our perpetual inventory. So there's a few steps involved here. Of course, during the initial setup, our Kroll support can definitely assist with doing this. It would just be a matter of enabling, inventory adjustments, auto ordering in the store config, as you can see from the first screenshot here. And then towards the bottom, we have a screenshot that shows what it would look like when a pharmacy, when a drug cart is set up with perpetual inventory, and it's linked to the vendor that you'll be ordering from. And of course, we do have flags here. Should the pharmacy want to disable auto order for certain expensive medications, they have full control to be able to do that as well. And they can also set up a min and max, as we refer to here and with Kroll. So min and max would refer to wanting to have minimum, say a minimum of 500 tablets in your inventory at all times, and a maximum, and a minimum of 300 is when it would start to order to reach back up to the max. So next slide here, we'll just be explaining the process of the electronic ordering. Once you have your perpetual inventory set up and all the drawer card on hands have been calculated correctly, when you go into our utilities tab, there's an option to generate an order. Once you do that, you will be prompted with the screen that is basically asking the user if they want to automatically process the invoice or if they would want to do a manual. So of course, when you do automatic, it would list everything in your inventory that is below its maximum quantity, and it's going to order to make sure that it reaches that quantity for you for the next business day. Once you click send electronic order, it will generate a purchase order for you. So for example, our purchase order here would be 100, and that is where once you're ready to receive your order, when it comes in the next day, McKesson will post that, or KNF, and then you can pretty much launch the receiving aspect from there. So next slide.
Thank you guys for joining our webinar today. If you do have any additional questions or would like more information on what was presented, please contact us at krollsales@telus.com, and please do check out our website. There is additional information about our resources and what we did speak about today. So thank you again and have a wonderful afternoon.